Welcome back to video number 2. So the first video was on the couple that wanted their budget done on a weekly basis to help them control their spending. I had some other things on there with debt payoff using cash flow. So this video is going to be about velocity banking. I calculated the interest daily on this one. So stay tuned to the end because you're going to be pleasantly surprised by the results. So let's get into it.
Okay, here we go. So I want to bring your attention, first of all, to the date expenses come out. This is where it becomes important because when you're doing velocity banking, you're going to take the credit card. First of all, you're going to take money out of the PLOC, which this PLOC is $15,000. That's what they got a PLOC for, $15,000. So they're going to take the $13,000 out of this, put it in their checking account, and then pay off the credit card. So the credit card's now gone. So when we look at the months here, the days, our expenses come out. That's when we're going to plot these expenses coming out. Here's something to remember too, the accounts which the funds are expensed from. So we have our rent and our electric have to be paid from our checking account. A car payment from our checking account, and life insurance paid from our checking account. The credit card no longer exists, so it doesn't matter. Everything else, all of this, the gas, groceries, eating out, spending money, can be put on that same credit card. I know this sounds weird and probably stupid, but we're going to put this on the credit card. And we're going to put our car insurance, our internet and our phone, and our subscriptions on the credit card. And if there's any vacations, clothing, or car repairs, they're all going to go on the credit card also. So that's the beginning of this thing. That's the basics of this. So we come over here, they get paid on the 1st and the 15th. Remember, they're managing their money on the weekly. You can go back to the first video. I highly recommend you watch the first video to understand what's going on here. Okay, so we have a balance of $13,000. They get paid on the 1st. They put their payment in on the 1st. Well, that same day, their rent is due. So they'll take $1,500 for their rent, and they will then put it in their checking account and pay the rent. That'll leave a balance of $11,976, and interest daily that was accrued was $3.61. And there's the total that gets transferred to the next day. So this is January, and these are the days in January. Okay, so nothing else happens. So we come down here to the second paycheck. They go ahead and just deposit that or put it into the PLOC. That brings their balance down. That brings from 362. They've been paying 361, 362 on the days prior to this. They're now paying 286. Then our life insurance comes out, or their life insurance comes out. Then the $200 for the electric comes out on the 26th. They pulled this out of their account. First of all, they have to pull it out of the PLOC, put it in their checking account for this to get paid. They have to pull this out from their PLOC, put it in their checking account. Here's where the credit card is due. So they're going to pay all their expenses. That's the $1,700 for any money they spent here. Now, if they didn't spend all of the money right here, then it doesn't matter. If they don't spend the money, then it'll just go towards the balance on the PLOC. But we're going to assume that they did spend every cent of that, plus all of the other things, plus the subscriptions, the car insurance, the internet, and the phone. All of that came out in this payment right here. They just made a payment on their credit card. They paid off the credit card. So we don't ever want to use credit cards unless we're going to pay it off at the end of the month. That way we don't accrue any interest on the credit card. The only interest we're paying is over here, and this PLOC is 11%. Then the car payment comes out. There's the interest, all daily interest right there, for a total of $100.80 interest on the month of January. Okay, we go on to the next month. I'm not going to go through all of these months, okay? I just want to show you how this is done So again, we get paid, we put it into the PLOC, we take money out. You can technically just take, your paycheck minus the rent, keep the rent in the checking account and put the rest over here. And you probably cut back on interest. You will cut back on interest. But we're not going to do that because there's so many different ways you can do this. There's so many different scenarios. I'm not going to do them all. I can't do them all on here. So I'm just going to show you one particular scenario, the easiest way to do this, to do a spreadsheet on at least, because there's a lot of months in this. So there's 2,524. Another paycheck gets put in. We take the money out to pay the life insurance, take the money out to pay the electric, take the money out to pay the credit card off, and that's how much interest we accrued. And then our balance is 9,477. It gets transferred over to March. Okay, you guys get the hint. Okay, so I want to come over here real quick before we continue on. And I want to look at this. So this is what I'm doing. So there's a PLOC, a velocity banking where life happens, and then there's a velocity banking where no life happens. What I mean by no life is they don't go on vacation, they don't spend in clothing, they don't do any of that. They don't have their car repaired. Okay? That's no life. So when life happens, they agreed to not taking any vacation in the first month or in the last month, or the last year, the first year and the last year, however long it took to pay this off. So I took the liberty, if you look over here, I took the liberty to go ahead and just input some vacations, some car repairs, and some clothing for them throughout this debt payoff. And as you notice over here, I got tires, I got clothing, I got a trip for $4,500. I have, I just put that in there, don't worry about that. I even added a new washing machine at $900. Brakes, passports, clothing, vacation, another car repair, another clothing, vacation. So there's 3 vacations in this time to pay off this debt. So this is living life, and this is what they want to do. So if we come over here, I did all of the months it's going to take to pay this off, and we're going to scroll down to the first time that we have the tires. So they bought the tires on the 9th. This is all scenario, right? Because this hasn't happened yet. This is just for them to look at and to get a good idea of if this fits them or not. So again, we have our income, we have our rent that comes out, we have our income that comes in again. So when they put the tires, the 1,078 for tires on the credit card, so that brings the credit card with all the other things they put on it to here, and they're going to pay it off. They're going to take this money from the PLOC, put it in their check account, and then pay that credit card off. And then their car payment. Okay? They accrued $38.51 in interest. Okay, we're going to scroll down to the next time we have a life happening, enjoying life. Okay, well, they like clothing. So we have clothing that was bought, $450 worth of clothing. Again, income, rent, life insurance, electricity, and then pay the credit card off. Now this credit card is included in the $450. And then their car payment. $34.85 accrued that month, in the month of December, and there's their new balance, $5,668, which gets transferred down to January. Oh, they took their vacation in January. Again, you know the drill. We have our payments that we have to take out of the PLOC, put it in our checking account. $4,500 it took. They used. This is just fictitious numbers that I put in here. I try to go pretty high so that they can enjoy their vacations. And their car payment. So $37.59. And we're going to go down to the next entry. Here, they had to purchase a washing machine. $900. Goes on the credit card. They're earning points on the credit card. They like to travel, so their credit card is a points for travel credit card. We have everything's the same. Pay off the credit card. We just live life, okay? Come down to the next time. Here we have brakes. Brakes need to get done on the 6th of July. That cost them $492. They put it on their credit card. It gets added to all the other credit card purchases that they've made. we have our same inputs. Let's go down to the next one. Next one is the passports. They had to get their passports. I put them on a trip to Southeast Asia. So $200 for passports. We have everything the same. The income goes in, the expenses come out. $3,500. So I had them buy some clothing here in the month they're taking their trip, which is in January. So they bought clothing on the 6th. They bought clothing on the 21st. And their vacation is in March. Sorry. And then bought that clothing was $250. Okay, again, the clothing went on the credit card. Everything's the same. I don't want to spend a lot of time going through this to keep the video shorter. So here we are in March. They took their vacation. Vacation number 2 was $3,000. Got put on the credit card. They paid it off, enjoyed themselves, made all their regular payments. And let's go down to our next entry. Here we had a car repair in August. That was $364. Put it on the credit card. Everything stays the same. Okay, here we come down to November, and here's where things change. On the 15th, the paycheck would have been $2,524. It's less than what we owe on the PLOC. We can't pay more, so we pay it off. And we save that money in our checking account, and then we make a payment at the end of the month. Okay, that brings our total income here. It gives us $12.47 in interest. And then we'll go down. We have some clothing in there, 2 of 200. So that gets added to the credit card, and everything else that goes on the credit card, we pay it off at the end of the month. We'll go down to vacation number 3. Vacation number 3 was a $1,300 vacation, and everything's the same. Again, we can only pay what we owe on the PLOC, so we do with our second check. We move down, we pay off our credit card at the end of the month, and $12.52 in interest. We'll go down to our next one. So here we got March. There's some clothing bought on the 3rd, on the 8th, and on the 21st. Again, these are all made up just as an example for them. However you live life, you live life. It's hard to decide for them what they're going to do in these while paying this debt off. So I just added these in here. So a total of $325. Again, everything's the same. Here on the second check, we can't put the full amount in, but the first check we could, because we had a debt in there more than what our paycheck was. And so we come down here again. We pay the credit card off at the end of the month. $8.18, and we come all the way down. I don't think there's any, nope, that's it. Okay. So that's how we do this on the daily. Okay, when life happens. That's plugging in some vacations, some clothing, some car repairs. Remember, they still had this money here to spend every week. They could spend that how they want. They can mix and match these. They can pull money from here and eat out with it, or they don't have to spend it all themselves and just go towards the debt. Okay, it'll just stay in the PLOC and you'll pay less interest. Now I want to go real quick over here to no life happens. I did the same thing. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this. I did the same thing over here as I did in the life happens that we just went over. Now what are the results? Here are the results. Okay, we got velocity banking when life happens. It would take 42 months to pay that off, and you would pay $1,669.13 in interest. Okay? When no life happens, if you don't do any vacations, any clothing, or any of the car repairs, you have 24 months and you spend $1,133.27 in interest. Now let's contrast that to the cash flow method that I talked about in video number 1. Notice cash flow, if you just use cash flow, which would just be the minimum payment on the credit card and your cash flow that you had, which was $62. It would take you 52 months and you pay $39. Okay? So here's the difference. 52, 24, and 42. So even if life happens, it's still taking you less to pay it off than it would if you just used the cash flow and the minimum payment, and a lot less interest. Cash flow minus vacations. Okay, so that take an extra $100 we throw at the credit card just using cash flow, not doing velocity banking. 37 months, and you're still paying more, or you're still paying less letting life happen in velocity banking than you would be here. Sure, it's taking you longer, but they don't care about the amount of time it takes them. They want to enjoy life. Remember, that was their top priority. Enjoy life, vacations, clothing, and paying off debt. And again, they didn't care about the car, paying the car off. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's likes are different. And we can do something like this for you too. And you can contact us, send us an email at budgethawkfinance@gmail.com. Okay, let's keep going down here real quick. And we have $2,800. You're still spending less. It's taking you less time to pay it off using the cash flow method than it would this, but not if you decided to cut vacations, clothes, and car repairs. If you're going to do the cash flow over here, okay, and have no life happen, these two are the same. No life happens in these two. You're still paying what? A little under $800 more and 2 more months using cash flow. Velocity banking works. It works. Not all the time, but it works. So, and one last one, this is cash flow, vacations minus clothes. You put $483 towards the credit card every month. It take you $32 and $2,452 in interest. These two, velocity banking, beats you out hands down in all of the cash flow ways of doing it. Again, I don't have all of them, but this is a good selection right here. You pay less interest doing velocity banking. Now it takes you longer if you live life, but if you don't want to live life, you want to knock that debt out quick, it's going to be the quickest way with the less amount of interest paid. All right. I hope you guys liked it. I hope it made sense. Put in the comments what you think about velocity banking and just paying your debts off with your cash flow. All right. Thank you. Bye.